I've seen a lot of people miss out on a golden opportunity by chasing a check instead of maneuvering for a piece of equity. Probably the most egregious example is my former associate, Sha Money XL. I met Sha when I was first getting into music. Before signing the Interscope, I recorded a lot of songs for my mixtapes in the studio Sha operated in the basement of his house in Long Island. It wasn't a professional setup by a long shot, but it got the job done. More important, Sha provided a safe and secure space to record when a lot of bigger studios didn't want to fuck with me. Because of his loyalty and consistency during a difficult time, I considered Sha my partner. We never formalized our relationship, but in my head, it was a foregone conclusion that when I signed my next major label deal, Sha would eat off the situation too. So imagine my surprise when one of the first things Sha did after I signed my Interscope deal was present the label with a $50,000 invoice. He wanted to be reimbursed for the recording sessions we'd done at his house. That blew me away on several levels. First off, we've never discussed Sha charging me for the time at his place. And if that was something he felt that he was owed, why would he submit something so overinflated? $50,000 to record in his basement? It was disrespectful. I decided to try and talk some sense into Sha. Look, I didn't think you were going to hand me a bill for what we did at your crib, I told him. But if you feel like you need to get paid for those sessions, just take $30,000 and a point off the album. I was offering less cash than he wanted, but it was actually a very generous deal. A point was an industry term that meant for every album sold, Sha would receive 1% of the royalties. In the record business, points are what everyone is looking for. If an album really takes off, there's no limit to the amount you might make. Judging from the buzz around me, we were talking about an album that was definitely going to take off. Sha wasn't interested in the point. Even his lawyer told him he was crazy. Take the fucking point, the guy told him. I'll give you $20,000 right now for it. What the fuck is wrong with you? He wouldn't even listen to his own attorney. Sha wanted his $50K for me and wasn't going to budge. He ended up getting it, but it would be a decision that cost him dearly. That single point on Get Rich or Die Trying ended up being worth $1.3 million. He didn't just lose over $1 million either. After Get Rich or Die Trying started flying off the shelves, Interscope offered me a $15 million deal for G-Unit Records. Once that deal was signed, I noticed Sha started hanging around my office a lot. I guess he thought he was going to get some of that budget too. Nope, you ain't getting none of this money. I was quick to tell him. You took your equity out of the situation when you demanded the $50,000. Now you've been paid for everything you've done. Our relationship was never the same. In just a few months, I'd gone from seeing Sha as a partner I was prepared to share millions with to just another contractor. Sha undercut his own position by not understanding how to negotiate. He got fixated on that $50,000 and could not get himself unstuck. This is one of the biggest mistakes you can make when entering a negotiation. Never get fixated on a number. You want the person you're negotiating with to think you're stuck, but when the right moment comes, you have to be prepared to move off it. That's not undervaluing yourself. It's just a matter of understanding successful negotiations are built on give and take. If you refuse to concede anything, the conversation isn't going anywhere. If Sha had understood that basic principle, he would have seen that there was a very easy path towards getting what he wanted, and then some. Let me show you how he should have handled it. When I offered him $30,000 and a point, he shouldn't have dismissed it out of hand. Instead, he should have come back to me with some humility. You know what, Fifth? I was tripping by submitting that bill. Don't worry about the $50K. Even if he didn't believe it in his heart, he should have sensed I was pissed and softened his position a bit. Once he had gotten me to let down my guard just a bit, he could have come back with a stronger ask. I know I was thirsty with the bill, but I did put a lot of time into this album. We were really in the trenches together on it. And I really appreciate you offering the point, but instead of one, could we do 2 points? If he had said that, I wouldn't have been upset. He was in the trenches with me after all. He had proved his worth and loyalty. I would have probably said, let me think about it, and then countered with 1.5 points. In all likelihood, that's where we would have settled. Sha would have walked away with close to $2 million from that deal alone. Plus, our relationship would have remained on strong terms. He would likely have gotten points on subsequent albums as well. Instead, he got only a fraction of that. I was offering him a chance to enter a new tax bracket. And he negotiated himself into nickels and dimes due to ego, insecurity, and possibly lack of faith. That's not hustling stronger, it's hustling weaker. I believe one of the reasons Sha failed to negotiate his proper value is because he took the process personally. Maybe his pride told him he shouldn't have to ask me for anything. Maybe he didn't trust me. Or maybe it was just plain old greed. Whatever his reasons, Sha clearly let things get personal. This is the other huge mistake people make when they start negotiating. They take offense to what's being offered because they feel it's an unfair representation of what they put in. Please understand this. Negotiations are not personal. Again, I don't care if you're dealing with a longtime business partner, a friend, or a family member. The other person is never going to start at a number you think is fair. It's just not how the process works. They're always going to start at a lower number and then come up when you push back. Just how high they come up depends on how good of a negotiator you are. But they're never going to start at that number. Trust me, I've been a part of thousands of negotiations, and none of them have started where I wanted to be. Even with all the leverage I have as a proven entrepreneur and entertainer, to this day, I still have to work to get to the number I'm looking for. The key is, I never react emotionally. Even if the energy I'm projecting is of someone who's pissed off and about to walk away, internally, I'm cool. I'm just waiting to see how my energy is received. If I push and push and the other side still won't move, then I'll walk away. But more often than not, a few pushes get me to where I want to be. And then we seal a deal. Once it's done, it's like all the posturing and threatening never happened. Everyone hugs, raises a toast, and talks about how excited they are to be in business together.